Hello friends, welcome to Prashant IAS. So friends, in the last class we were discussing about the powers and position of governor. And we were comparing the powers and position of governor vis-a-vis State Council of Ministers and the President of India vis-a-vis Union Council of Ministers. So friends, in the last class we have discussed many points about this, but this is a big topic, so some points are also remaining. So in this class we will continue our discussion with this topic and we will complete this topic. So friends, let's begin. So friends, let's suppose that this is the governor of any state. Okay, so let's suppose this is the governor of any state and he is the president of India. Okay, so friends, now what happens under convention? Convention means this is a kind of practice which has developed over a period of time. Okay, for the sake of convenience in governance and administration. So under convention what happens, that every fortnight governor sends a report to the President of India. Governor sends a report to the President of India. And what is written in that report? So this report is about the affairs of state. Okay, so what happens, that every fortnight governor sends a report to the President of India about the affairs of state. Now friends, what is the meaning of fortnight? So fortnight means in every 15 days. So we can say that in every 15 days governor of a state sends a report about the affairs of state to the President of India. Now what is the meaning of this affairs of state? So affairs of state means, for example, governor, in the report of governor mentions about the condition of administration in the state, okay, about the condition of governance in the state, about the condition of law and order in the state. Okay, so this report is about all the affairs going on in the state. Okay, whether it is administration, whether it is law and order, whether it is governance or anything else. Okay, now friends, what happens, that we have the question. So the question is that who prepares this report? Okay, so what is the question? So our question is that who prepares that report? So friends, actually this report is prepared by the governor in his own discretion. Okay, so governor prepares this report using his own mind, using his own discretion. Okay, so what happens, that governor sends a report to the President of India about the affairs of state in every 15 days. And this report is prepared by governor in his own discretion. So this is the discretionary power of the governor. Okay. Now friends, after this, let us discuss about the next power of the governor of state. Okay, so friends, in the previous classes, I have taught you about Article 356 of the Indian Constitution in a very detailed manner. Okay, so what is Article 356 about? So Article 356 is actually about state emergency, or we can also call this as the President's rule. Okay, so this is about state emergency or President's rule. Now, how this Article 356 gives a discretionary power to the governor of a state. So this article also gives one discretionary power to the governor of state. So what is the discretionary power? So actually what happens friends, that under Article 356, governor of any state has the power to invite the President of India. Okay, so let's suppose that this is the President of India and he is the governor. So what will happen, that under Article 356, governor has the power to invite the President of India to take over the administration of the state in his own hand. Okay, and impose the President's rule on the state on the ground that constitutional machinery has failed in the state. Now what does it mean, or what does this statement means? So this basically means that under Article 356 of the Indian Constitution, if governor of the state sends the report to the President of India, okay, and in his report, so in the earlier power I told you that every 15 days governor sends a report to the President of India. Now friends, let's suppose in the report of governor, if the governor has written that the constitutional machinery has failed in the state. Constitutional machinery has failed in the state means that the governance of the state is not carried out according to the provisions of the constitution. The government is not following the provisions of the constitution. The government is not running according to the provisions of the constitution. So this simply means that the constitutional machinery has failed in the state. So if governor writes in his report that the constitutional machinery has failed in the state, okay, then it means that the governor has invited the president of India to take over the administration of state in his hand and to impose president's rule on a state. Okay, so in this way we can say that this is the power of governor given under Article 356. Okay, so what is that power? So now let us revise it. So this power is that if governor of a state sends a report to the president of India inviting him for taking over the administration of the state and imposing president's rule on the state on the ground that constitutional machinery has failed in the state. Okay, so what does it mean? It simply means that if governor sends a report to the president that constitutional machinery has failed in the state, then president of India will impose president's rule on that state. So this is the next power of the governor of any state. Now friends, after this, the next special power is especially given to the governor of Nagaland. Okay, so this power is not for all the governors in India. This power is only given to the governor of Nagaland. Okay, and this power is given to him under Article 371 capital A clause 1 subclause B of the Indian Constitution. So actually if you will read Article 371 capital A clause 1 subclause B, then this is a very big article with a very complex language. So I have made it very simple for all of you. Okay, so now let's read what this article is saying. Okay, so this is the simplified version which I have made for you. So governor of Nagaland has a special responsibility to maintain law and order in the state as long as insurgency caused by Naga rebels exists in the state. Okay, so what happens friends, that there are Naga rebels. So rebels means they are the persons, or this is a group. So Naga rebels is a group which generally cause insurgency in the state. Okay, insurgency means they generally do revolt against the government. Okay, they generally disturbs the law and order in the state. Okay, so you can consider that Naga rebels is a type of group of insurgents or revolutionaries. Okay, and they people are the threat to the law and order of the state. Okay, so they generally do revolt against the government. They generally breaks the law and order in the state. So what happens, that the Constitution of India has given a special power, okay, to the governor of Nagaland. And this special power says that the governor of Nagaland is responsible for maintaining law and order in the state of Nagaland. So generally this power is with the executive wing of the government. Okay, means maintenance of law and order is the power which is enjoyed by the Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister. Why? Because this is the executive wing of the government, and in the previous lectures I explained you that executive is responsible for maintaining law and order and for running the administration of the state. Okay, in state machinery. So, but Article 371 capital A clause 1 subclause B provides this special responsibility and this special power to the governor. Okay, means that in Nagaland governor is responsible for maintaining law and order in the state as long as the Naga rebels are causing insurgency and are breaking law and order in the state. Okay, so this is the special power which is given only to the governor of Nagaland. Now let's move forward. Now friends, after this, the next special power is given to the governors of Maharashtra. Okay, governor of Maharashtra and the governor of Gujarat. Okay, so this special power is not available to the other governors of other states, but this power is only given to the governor of Maharashtra and the governor of Gujarat by the Constitution of India. So now let's see that what is this special power. So if you will read Article 371 clause 2 of the Indian Constitution, then you will find that governor of Maharashtra and Gujarat may be given special responsibility by the president to establish separate developmental boards for the areas of Vidarbha, Marathwada and rest of Maharashtra and Kutch, Saurashtra and rest of Gujarat respectively. Now what does this article means? So now I will explain you this article. Okay. So now let's see that what is the meaning of Article 371 Clause 2 of the Indian Constitution. Okay. So friends, let's suppose that this is the governor of, let's suppose Maharashtra. Okay. So let's suppose this is the governor of Maharashtra. Okay. Now friends, what this article is saying. So Article 371 Clause 2 is saying that President of India, okay, President of India has the power to give a special power. President of India has the power to give a special power or a special responsibility to the governor of Maharashtra. And what is that special power? That special power is that governor of Maharashtra can establish separate developmental boards. Okay, he can establish separate developmental boards for which areas? First of all, for the area of Vidarbha. Okay, then for the area of Marathwada and then for rest of Maharashtra. Okay, now the same thing is said for the governor of Gujarat also. Okay, so now let's suppose friends that this is the governor of Gujarat. Okay, this is the governor of Gujarat and let's suppose he is the president of India. Now again, president of India has the power to give special responsibility or special power to the governor of Gujarat. That, and what is that special power? So that special power or responsibility is that governor of Gujarat will have the power to establish separate developmental boards, okay, for the areas of Saurashtra, for the area of Kutch and for rest of Gujarat. So this is the special power only given which, okay, so these are the special powers which can only be given to the governors of Maharashtra and Gujarat by the President of India. So friends, now let's move forward. Now friends, after this, let us discuss about the next power of the governor. So if you will read Article 166 Clause 3 of the Indian Constitution, then you will find that governor shall make rules for more convenient transaction of business of the state government and for the allocation of the business among the ministers. Okay. Now what does it mean? So now for understanding this statement, first of all, we need to know that what is the meaning of term business here. Okay. So here business actually means work. Okay. So here the meaning of term business is work. So now let's see that what is the meaning of this article. So this article actually says that the governor of the state has the power. Governor of the state has the power for making the rules. Governor has the power to make the rules. Regarding what? Regarding how the different works will be done by the state government more conveniently. Okay. So what does this article says? So this article says that governor has the power to make rules regarding what? Regarding that how the different works will be done by the state government more conveniently, more easily. Okay. Moreover, there is one more thing which this article is saying. So this article is also saying that governor will also make rules for the allocation of different work to different ministers. Okay. Means that which work will be allocated to which minister. So now are you getting what this article is saying? So this article is simply saying that governor of state will have the power to make rules. Rules for what? Rules on. So governor will make the rules for, so governor of the states will make the rules so that the different works will be done by the state government more easily, more conveniently. Okay. And moreover, governor will also make rules for what? For the allocation of business among ministers. Means which will, means how the work will be allocated, how the different works will be allocated to different ministers. Okay, so now friends, you need to know one more thing. Now what happens that the President of India also has the same power for at the union level. Okay, so this simply means that President of India can also make the rules for the more convenient transaction of business at the union level and for the allocation of business among different ministers. But there is a difference. The difference is that this is not the discretionary power of the president. Okay, means president, this does not belongs to the discretionary power of the president. President cannot take decision, cannot make these rules by using his own discretion, by using his own mind. But friends, at the state level, governor can use his discretion for making these rules. Means this belongs to the discretionary quota of governor. This power is the discretionary power of the governor. So this simply means that when governor will make the rules for the more convenient transaction of business of the state and for the allocation of business among ministers, then governor will make these rules on his own. Governor will use his discretion while making these rules. Okay, so friends, now let's move forward. So friends, now let us jump to the conclusion. Okay, so actually there are two conclusions of this entire story. So first of all, we will see the first conclusion and then we will jump to the second conclusion. So okay, and friends, I have already provided you this conclusion in the notes of the previous class. Okay, so now let us understand that what is the meaning of this conclusion. So under constitution, the position of governor is far more secured vis-a-vis his council of ministers as compared to the position of president vis-a-vis union council of ministers. Okay, now what does it mean? So it simply means that let's suppose if this is the president of India, okay, and this is the governor of any state. Okay, now let's suppose that this is the council of ministers of president of India, and let us suppose that this is the council of ministers of the governor of any state. Then the position of governor vis-a-vis his council of ministers is far more better, is far more powerful, is far more secured. Okay, in comparison to the power, position and in comparison to the powers and position of president of India vis-a-vis union council of ministers. Okay, so simply we can say that in the state council of ministers, governor has a big say, governor has a big role, but in union council of ministers, president has a very less assertiveness, or president has a very less role to play, we can say this. Okay, so I think all of you are understanding my point of view. So now let's see that what this conclusion is saying next. Okay, so then it is saying that president largely carries influence but not much of powers. Okay, so we have seen that the office of president is very influential. The office of president is very ceremonial. His office is more ceremonial and less functional. Whereas this is not the case with governor, as his office is equal ceremonial and functional. Okay, so now what does it mean? So friends, I have told you in the previous classes that the president of India is the head of entire India. Okay, president of India represents India internationally, represents India at the globe level. Okay, president of India is the head of entire India. He is the first constitutional officer. He is the senior most constitutional officer in the India. Okay, so what happens that his office is more ceremonial, his office is more influential. Okay, but in reality, most of the powers which are actually provided to the president of India by the constitution, they are actually used by the council of ministers headed by prime minister. Why? Because president of India has to work according to the advice of council of ministers. Okay, so I have told you in the previous classes that at best president of India can send the advice of council of ministers once for recommendation. Okay, for reconsideration. But if council of ministers sends back the same advice, then president of India is bound to act according to the advice of council of ministers. So this means that all the powers are actually enjoyed by the council of ministers which is headed by the prime minister. And due to this reason, president of India is called as the de jure head and prime minister of India is known as the de facto head. So de jure head means he is a nominal head. He has only namesake powers, and de facto head means he has all the powers. He is real head. Okay. But if we talk about the office of governor, so this is not true for the office of governor, because in our entire discussion we have seen that governor has many discretionary powers. Governor has many tools in his hands to control council of ministers and chief minister. Okay, the office of governor is actually very assertive in his state council of ministers. Okay, so what happens that as president of India is the head of entire India, in the similar way governor of any state is the head of that state. So this means that governor of a state, the office of the governor is ceremonial, the office of the governor is influential, but at the same time it is also functional. Means in reality the office of governor enjoys many powers. Governor enjoys many powers. We have seen in our entire discussion that many powers are actually enjoyed by the governor in his own discretion. For example, governor can reserve any bill, okay, including money bill, for the consideration of the president. Okay, I have told you that under Article 356, governor can invite the president to take over the administration of the state and to impose president's rule on the state. Okay, I have told you that president of India cannot exist and cannot discharge his functions without a council of ministers to aid and advise him. But governor of any state can exist and he can discharge his functions without a council of ministers also. Okay, so what does this mean? So this means that the office of governor is equally ceremonial and equally functional. Governor also has many discretionary powers, and these discretionary powers makes governor a very important officer, a very important person in his council of ministers. So now I think that this conclusion is clear to all of you. Now let us move to second conclusion. Now friends, after this let's see that what is the second conclusion. So now let's read it. So in spite of so many powers given to the governor, in reality he is supposed to consult center while using these powers. Otherwise he can be removed from office by president, since he is in office till the pleasure of president. Okay. Thus the office of governor is more of a manifestation of center's control over the states, since by controlling the governor, center can also influence the states. Okay, so this is the second conclusion. Now what does it mean? So okay, now what does this conclusion means? So friends, this simply means that actually so many powers are provided by the Constitution of India to the governor. Okay, so we know that governor actually has many powers. But on ground, what happens? Practically what happens? So practically governor has to take permission from the central government. Okay, central government means, definitely you know, central government means the council of ministers headed by the prime minister. So the governor has to take permission from the central government before taking these decisions. Okay, so now you can ask me that, sir, why governor takes permission from the central government before taking any decision? So friends, in the first lecture on governor, I told you that governor holds office during the pleasure of the president of India. Okay, governor holds office during the pleasure of president. So pleasure of president means that till the time president is happy with governor, governor will remain in his office. But when president will become angry with governor, then president can remove the governor from his office. Now friends, I have also told you one thing, that president has to act according to the advice given by council of ministers headed by prime minister, means union council of ministers. Okay, so now let's suppose what happened, that governor used any of his discretionary powers. So I am giving you one example. Okay, so let's suppose governor used any of his discretionary power and he used that discretionary power without taking permission from the central government. Okay, and central government wanted something else, that governor should do this, but governor didn't pay attention to the words of central government and he took decision by using his own mind. So now what will happen? Definitely the central government, means the council of ministers, will become angry with the governor that you didn't obey us. Okay, so now council of ministers can give recommendation, means can give advice to the president of India to remove the governor from office, and definitely president is bound by the advice. So now president will remove the governor. So this simply means that if governor is not taking permission from the central government before taking any decision or before doing anything, then central government has a tool. Central government has the power to remove the governor from his office. So every time he is using his power, then he is taking permission from the central government. Okay. Now friends, I am giving you one situation in your real life. Okay. So let's suppose that this is you. Okay. So I am sorry that I can't draw a good diagram, but let's suppose that this is you. Okay. Now let's suppose that he is your, let's suppose that this person is your father. Okay, and let's suppose that this person is your grandfather. Grandfather means definitely grandfather means the father of your father. Okay, now you were informed in your family that all the decisions are taken by your father. Okay, so now let's suppose one day what happened, that you met a girl. Okay, and now you want to marry that girl. Okay, so what you did, you just went to your father and you took permission that father, I love this girl, so I just want to marry with this girl. Okay, I just want to marry with this girl, so please give me permission and kindly arrange for our marriage ceremony, kindly make arrangements for our marriage ceremony. Okay, so what you have did, you have just taken permission from your father, but now your father will approach his father and he will take permission from your grandfather. Okay, and when your grandfather will say that yes, your son can marry with this particular girl, then only your father will give you permission. And if your grandfather will say that no, I don't like this girl, then your father will say that no, I also don't like this girl. So in this example, who is really powerful? Okay, so you are powerful, or your father is powerful, or in reality your grandfather is powerful. Okay, so even though you have been informed that your father is taking all the decisions for the family, but your father is taking every decision after taking permission from your grandfather. So in reality your grandfather is powerful. In reality your grandfather is using all the powers in the home. Okay, now the same is happening, that let's suppose now you can compare your father with governor and you can compare your grandfather with the central government. So every time governor is taking any decision, governor is asking from the central government. Okay, so who is powerful? Actually central government is using all the powers on behalf of governor. Okay, so then it is written that thus the office of governor is more of a manifestation of central's control over the state, since by controlling the governor, center can also influence the states. So this simply means that the governor's power, all the governor's powers are in reality enjoyed by the central government. Okay, the powers of governor are in reality the manifestation of center's control over the state. Means by controlling the governor, central government can control the states. For example, by controlling your father, your grandfather can control you, because you will ask your father for anything and your father will finally ask to your from his father, means from your grandfather. So his final decision taking authority, your grandfather is the final decision taking authority. By controlling your father, your grandfather can also control you. So who is actually using power? Your grandfather. Okay, so in the similar way, central government is controlling, central government can control the office of governor, and by controlling the office of governor, central government can also control the administration of states. Central government can also can also influence the states. Okay, so this is the final conclusion. Okay, so and with this friends, the topic of governor is now complete. So friends, I hope that all of you must have enjoyed the lecture, and if you have enjoyed the lecture, then please like the video, comment, subscribe the channel, press the bell icon and select all. Now friends, we will meet in next class with a fresh topic, and now only 2-3 classes are left for Indian polity to complete. Okay. So now friends, we will meet in next class. Till then, stay healthy, stay indoors, take care of yourself. Thank you.